just want to say Happy Father's Day to all of you, and to my dad, right now, I love you so much. You're taking care of my daughter. I am so grateful to you for that, and I appreciate you, and thank you. And you are so witty, and I think that's where I get my wittiness from. And to my boyfriend, he is not the father of my daughter. However, he has stepped up to the plate and has been a part of her life since she was about 2 years old. And he is an awesome guy, and he's just a wonderful man. He supported me through all my ups and downs, and I love you so much for that.
Thank you. We've blocked out a long time for this, so.
I could fill it, Dave, with my message.
Yes.
I haven't seen you guys in a couple of weeks. I'm glad to be here. I'll say something I said to my own dad a couple of weeks ago. I've had 2 stints in the hospital the last couple of weeks, and my dad, who'll be 75 here in less than a month, who has always been my rock, been there for everything. I think even growing up, I don't think he missed an athletic competition. He could build anything, fix anything. He was my hero. And the first time I was in the hospital a couple weeks ago, he came up and was sad that he felt like he couldn't do more for me. And I just turned to him, it was just he and I in the room, and I turned to him and I said, you know, Dad, you've always been my rock and you've always been there for me. But I want you to know that you handed me over to somebody very confident, and that is my husband, David, who has been a wonderful stepfather to my daughter, who's a wonderful grandpa to his new granddaughter, Nicole, who just loves him to death, and has been my angel and my rock through all of this. And you guys, if you only knew what he's doing for me at home, he could be a great Mr. Mom, because he can shop and do the laundry and cook and all that stuff. So I want to honor David and my dad.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. You're my rock. You're my foundation. And I truly believe that it's because you're a powerful man of God, and you brought me into God's kingdom at a very young age, that I am where I am today. My dad leads worship for a church. He's an assistant pastor. Thanks for giving me the gifts. God bless.
Wow.
First, hi, everybody.
Hi.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. My dad's name is John. He doesn't come to church. He hasn't been to church. Although, thank you for this great podium. It's wonderful. It goes right along with everything in our church, right? I do get my sense of humor from my dad. You know it. And we didn't have the best of childhood growing up. There was some issues there. And since then, my dad has apologized, made amends, and we didn't hear a lot of I-love-yous, a lot of hugs, and since I've talked to him about it as an adult, he has made up for that. Now it's hugs, Mija, how are you? I love you. It's just everything you could want from someone approaching someone and saying, this is what I didn't get. And it's the ideal situation of wanting that and receiving that. And I suffer from depression, and he's always there, always worried, always wants to know how I'm doing. He'll call me during the day. My mom works, he's disabled, and want to know how I'm doing, what's going on. He does things for me. He'll do my laundry. He'll come over if I need something done in the house. I just have to call. I'm very scared of spiders. I've called him to come kill spiders. And he comes right over. He's just, I love you, Dad. I don't know what I'd do without him.
Nice.
My dad said I wasn't going to come up here today, but I had to prove him wrong. My dad, I love how he supports us. Like, he goes to work. My mom does too, but like, I love both of them. The thing I love most about my dad are his nicknames. Oh my God. He gives everyone nicknames. He has nicknames for my brothers, for me, my uncles, oh God. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
My dad has always been there for me since day one. He never gives up on anything. He has a big heart. A good man of God. I just want to say I love you with all my heart. So I'll always be there for you. Someday, I have my own kids. I love you with all my heart. Thank you for everything.
I guess in some situations, I've always thought of myself as unlucky because I feel like I never had like a steady father. But now that I think about it, sorry. Okay. Now that I think about it and reflect on it, if I think about it, I've had 3 fathers. And one is my grandpa. He's always been there for me since I was born. And ever since I've been growing up, he's always given me everything that I needed and asked for. And I know that I can always depend on him, and he's just amazing. And so that's one of my fathers. And then my second dad would be the man that I call my dad. He raised me since I was 3 years old up until I was 12 or 13. And there was a gap of time where he wasn't there. And I think that I'm the person I am today because of him. And he wasn't the best father growing up, but I truly feel that he wants to change that. And since he's gotten out of jail, which is just a few days ago, yesterday he pulled me to the side and said that he was sorry and that he was so proud of me forever. And my third dad would be Victor. You guys probably know him. He comes to church. And he's been like, I guess, kind of raising me for 2 or 3 years. And he was sort of the man of the house, and he got everything done. And when I didn't have something, even if we didn't have the money, he would try to do it. So yeah.
I train social workers for Los Angeles County as part of my job, and so I'm a licensed clinician, and so I see a lot of family dynamics, and I see some wonderful fathers, and I see some dads who, quite frankly, fall short. And fathers, I think, in our society, struggle sometimes to know what to do and how to do it, and what's too much and what's not enough. And we're human. All dads are human, and my dad's an exception. He's a good provider. He put 4 kids through college. He's also on his 3rd wife, and so he struggles a little bit with relationships and how to be consistently loving. He's a wonderful man who's he's a retired doctor, and he's got a great bedside manner, and I hear things about how he helps in other family situations and mediates, and just stuff that kind of blows me away. And yet I think sometimes it's hard for us to recognize that they have limitations. And part of the way our dads parent us is the way they were parented. And so if you think about your grandfather, your great-grandfather, and whatever background that was, it was what it was. We can't really do much to change that. But the main reason I got up here is what I want to say in terms of going forward and what we do as fathers and how we can interact and be a father figure for other people is important. And even with our dads today, how we respond to them and continue to love on them in spite of their shortcomings is what I encourage us to do. And so I know you guys are going to get a great message later, so I just wanted to share that.
Thanks, John.
Let me tell you how he really is. No. So every dad has their flaws, and he has his, which I won't go into. But the one thing that I'm really grateful about with my dad is he's always been just a really fun dad and taught me to always enjoy life. And we actually didn't have a lot of money growing up. We struggled a lot, but we didn't know that as kids because he was just always positive. And I didn't know any better until I grew up, and I realized how fortunate I was because he was the best dad. He took me and my friends toilet papering. If we wanted to go to the beach, he was always our ride. He was just very invested in us as kids. And I'm grateful for that. And I just happened to marry someone that I see similarities with Josephine. He's taking Josephine and playing horsey around the house, and I'm getting annoyed like my mom was because he's like a kid. But it's the same thing, and kids need that. And the biggest thing that I want to say is I had to share my dad growing up to the point where I would have to call him by Jim to get his attention because he was involved with the youth. But I'm grateful for that because everybody got to experience my dad with me. And so, yeah.
So, yeah, he left us in 8th grade to be with God, so it was hard. So if you're watching YouTube videos in heaven, you can see this. He's a great dad, so never said sorry, Brady, you rock. So, I'm sorry, Dad. But for 14 years, I got to have a great dad. Happy Father's Day.
Dave Sloan is my dad, and I feel like I have to say something. Happy Father's Day. You've taught me and Sandy almost everything we know. Mommy's taught us how to be emotional, but you've taught us you've been such a strong spiritual leader in our family, and I know that I really appreciate it, and Sammy does too. And we're really thankful and grateful that we have a father that does what you do and teaches us and prays with us and helps us learn. And
That's great.
Happy Father's Day, everyone. Thank you. My father left us in 1985, and I was just compelled to speak of him because he was a man of surprises. First and foremost, he was in love with my mom for the entire marriage that they had, and they modeled what a marriage was to be, which wasn't always fun and games, but it was real, and for that I'm eternally grateful. He was also an engineer in the aerospace industry, so we were awakened at 3 in the morning to watch the Apollos and the shuttles take off and land, and I thought everyone did that. And then he was creative. He and my mom met on the Lakewood stage in acting. So I was blessed to know someone who had both the analytical and the creative genes. and the funness, the happiness, and the joy about life. He would surprise us by doing donuts in a parking lot in the car. And this was a guy that analyzed and discussed everything and was a little bit reticent with his emotions sometimes. But he taught me fairness. He taught me humility. He taught me that it's important to love and care for people no matter who they are, where they're from, and that the material portion of this earth wasn't important. It was really being of help and service, and to, you know, be empathetic of others, and to not get so filled with who I am, which always wasn't successful. I sometimes failed in that arena because I thought the world reflected around me, but nevertheless, he would put me in my place lovingly, and finally he would call my mom his big sweetie, and I was his little sweetie, and those are the kinds of things, whether they're here with us emotionally, physically, or earth-wise, we hold dear, and I thank you for that, Dad.